Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda, and all glories to the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, who gather here on a weekly basis. Excuse me, a little technical difficulty here, to hear the philosophy of Krishna consciousness from the unedited books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And we have a mission. These days it's expanding to protect the legacy of Śrīla Prabhupada in his original books through our GoFundMe campaign, which has given a new vitality to this group because it gives an opportunity for others to donate for the printing and participation in the distribution of these books. That's the one step, is to get them printed, and then the next step will be for us to distribute them to more people. So this is called network marketing. The network marketing of the holy name, from one person to the next, like that, and we expand the community of devotees who understand the importance of Guru Tattva, the importance of association through sound vibration of the pure devotee of Krishna. Yes, this is the basis of real transcendental understanding. And nowadays, especially in light of the passing of so many of our God brothers and their release of their wills, as this goes on, we're seeing they're perpetrating a fraud, a misrepresentation of our disciplic succession. And this is a poison. Very serious issue. It's not, someone made a comment, oh, how come you're speaking about somebody that's passed away? Well, the issue is not specifically the person's passing away, but what he does during his life and what he does at his death. It's the principle of the matter. And the principle is that Prabhupada is our guru. And the arbitrary selection of so-called devotees to become Diksha gurus in our movement is no small thing. The proliferation of it is like a cancer. I mean, we all know the qualifications of a Diksha guru. They must be Uttama-Ācārya. They cannot be affected by anything in this material world except their service to their guru. That is the system that was introduced by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when it's changed, this is serious. It's not a small thing. So we have to be very careful not to be misled by sentiment in terms of spiritual life. The Guru Tattva principle is one that we stick to as the most important principle in this association and the Hare Krishna society. Without it, everything is dismantled. And I wanted to mention There's a saying that when opportunity and preparation meet, there's a chance for success. First of all, there must be the opportunity. What is the opportunity? Well, somehow or other, by Krishna's mercy, our association came up with this program to reprint the Delhi Bhagavatams, the original Delhi Bhagavatams. Here's the beautiful cover here you can see. And I was looking at the book actually, and here's the copy we're reading from today. It's interesting to note that at the end of the first volume, it ends at page 364. And the second volume starts at 365. And it goes all the way up to 1196. There's 1196 pages in this Bhagavatam series. It's 3 volumes. So Prabhupada, this of course may not be acceptable in the academic circles in America, hypothetically. But for all the disciples of Śrīla Prabhupada, it is something we rejoice. We love it. It's so authentic. Nothing better than authentic. So this is an opportunity for us. We have an opportunity to give a donation towards this project for the reproduction and distribution of Prabhupada's original Bhagavatam that he brought from India in trunks in 1965. This is extraordinary. And so we should all look at this as a circumstance that's evolved somehow or other in 2024. And this is the first time a GoFundMe project has been created for other people's benefit. And by them donating, they will be eternally benefit themselves and their family members because they took a little bit of Lakshmi. We're almost there, by the way. We're about $3,000 away from our goal of $24,000. And so there's still opportunity for us to give what we can and get the mercy of Krishna. Prabhupada told us in a lecture recently, he said, do not try to see Krishna. This is not the way to attract Krishna. Trying to see, let me see Krishna, let me see God. No, he said, you should act in such a way that Krishna will see you. Attract the attention of Krishna. If you take a little bit of Lakshmi, like many of us, we've spent millions of dollars in survival. Millions. Now you could say, well, how is that possible? Well, if you look at your life over the years, if you multiply them by the cost of living per year, etc., you're going to see you could have spent 500,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. And some could have been involved in business up to 10, 15, 20, 30, $40 million. Yes. So Lakshmi is something that is constantly moving around. Chanchala, flickering. It comes, it goes. But if we can capture her and take some of our Lakshmi and engage it in Krishna's service by the reproduction of these Delhi Bhagavatams, that will be an eternal benefit to each and every person that gives what they can according to their circumstance for the propagation of Krishna consciousness through this preaching program that we've developed with the Prabhupada Disciples Association to protect the legacy of our spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This minimization of Prabhupada in his position People putting up bigger Vyāsasans than Prabhupada and sitting there. Our godbrothers have done that. This is absolutely absurd. Someone could say, oh, that's a bit offensive. Well, who's offensive? The person that's allowed this Vyasasan to be constructed beside Prabhupada and for him to sit on it and people look at him and offer worship and wash his feet. This is unfortunate. But by the way, as unfortunate as it is, this is the way of the material world. People are constantly in conflict, constantly sharing opinion. My opinion is this, my opinion is that. In this particular case, there is no opinion. We are stating truth, and the truth is you should represent the spiritual master, your spiritual master, without any change. Not one change. That's a mistake. That is not only a mistake, it's a deviation. And this kind of hatimata, offense, will not be tolerated by the members of this group. The Prabhupada Disciples Association. Yes, we are not Ritviks. We are not Rupanugas. Prabhupada-nugas. We are the disciples, and the new people that come to us, they're also being focused in this way to prepare themselves to become disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, period. No adulteration, no change, no, let's use the term, everyone, compromise. And we'll move forward now to look at the diaries. I believe I sent the pages yesterday, and we somehow or other we didn't get a chance to show them. So if we could show them today, you'll see that in these pages, these initial pages, Prabhupada's keeping a ledger of money. So there's no notes. He's becoming active. Yeah, look at that. September 29th, 1966. The money, the Lakshmi has increased. Before, remember, it was just $2.35, 85 cents. Now it's all the way up to $804.04. So this is the 29th. Go ahead, please, Prabhu. The 30th, look at 6/14/24. Nice. And go down here. Look at the writing, eh? 6:05/49. He puts the balance in on the first and then the second. Like that, yes. Okay, that's good. Keep going, keep going. And here we are on the 4th, 6/12/10. Wow. So lots of activity. You know, Lakshmi, when you get Lakshmi, it brings vitality. There's no question of whether it's personal, if you're in your own life or in the life of a devotee. When you see that Lakshmi is coming to serve Krishna, it becomes invigorating, just like new blood into the body. Keep going. September 8th, 66, again, Prabhupada. And again, look at this. October 9th, Sunday, October 10th. And book distribution was a part of his program, and we're going to make this part of our program to work together to sell all these sets of Bhagavatams when we get them printed, distribute and sell. I know people from around the world with us are already committed to this program of marketing and advertising and selling this literature. This is a job for Krishna. And here we have an article. And we'll read quickly the article because I think it gives us a taste of what was going on back then. Sitting, this is by James Sykes from the New York Times, sitting under a tree in a Lower East Side park and occasionally dancing, 50 followers of a Hindu Swami repeated a 16-word chant for 2 hours yesterday afternoon to the accompaniment of cymbals, tambourines, sticks, drums, bells, and a small reed organ. Now, by the way, he had no mridanga, so you'll hear on a lot of these tapes, Prabhupada's playing a bongo. Repetition of the chant, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta says, is the best way to achieve self-realization in an age of destruction. While children played on the Hovings Hills, a pile of dirt in the middle of Tompkins Square Park, or bicycled along the sunny walks, many in the crowd of about 100 persons standing around the chanters found themselves swaying or clapping hands in time to the hypnotic, rhythmic music. It brings a state of ecstasy, said Allen Ginsberg, the poet who was one of the celebrants. For one thing, the syllable force, yoga, breath, control, there's one psychological explanation. The ecstasy of the chant or mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, has replaced LSD and other drugs for many of the Swami's followers. Mr. Ginsberg said, drugs are replaced. He explained that Hare Krishna, pronounced Hare, is the name of Vishnu, a Hindu god, as the bringer of the light. Prabhupada called him a fifth-class person. You know, Hindu god, no real understanding. Rama, pronounced Rama, is the incarnation of Vishnu as the prince of responsibility. Krishna is the god narrator of the Bhagavad Gita, one of the chief Hindu religious books. The chant, therefore, names different aspects of God, Mr. Ginsberg said. You have to go over to the far right, Prabhu, to the far right. Yes, there. That's the way they put the continuation. Another celebrant, 26-year-old Howard Wheeler, who is Hayagriva, who described himself as a former English instructor at Ohio State University, now devoting full time to the Swami, said, I myself took 50 doses of LSD and a dozen of peyote in 2 years, and now nothing. The Swami orders his followers to give up all intoxications, including coffee, tea, and cigarettes. He said in an interview after the ceremony, in this sense, we are helping your government, he added. However, he indicated the government apparently has not appreciated this help sufficiently, for the Department of Immigration recently told Swami Bhaktivedanta that his one-year visitor's visa had expired and that he must leave. He said the case is being appealed. It's interesting to note that Prabhupada went to Montreal and he was at Expo 67. And that's when Yaśodā first saw him. Interesting how Krishna guided Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu to meet Śrīla Prabhupāda through this pastime. The Swami, a swarthy man with a short cropped grayish hair, who was clad in a salmon-colored robe over a pink sweater, said that when he first met his own teacher or guru in 22, he was told to spread the cult of Krishna to the Western countries through the English language. Therefore, at this age of 71, I have taken, it goes back over, thank you, taken so much risk, he said. Yes, he suffered heart attacks. He said he arrived in New York in the United States in September 1965, September 19th. The Swami, whose title is equivalent to the Reverend, conducts chanting and gives lectures at his International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Inc., a storefront at 26 2nd Avenue between 1st and 2nd Streets on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. and every morning at 7 a.m. He has scheduled another session in the park at 7th Street and Avenue on Sunday at 2 p.m. His followers were said to include a lawyer, a mathematics professor, several teachers and social workers, as well as full-time devotees. Very interesting. Going back in time and feeling the energy and excitement that Prabhupada was generating while he was pushing forward the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to march on, everyone. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and the Sankirtan mission. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava. And we're going to hear the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam being read from these original Delhi Bhagavatams this morning and see how deep the realizations and understandings are for everyone's benefit and for those people in the future that will be getting copies of these books. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. To Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few verses from the first canto, second chapter, which describes the meaning and the transcendental benefit of hearing this great literature, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We'll be reading from canto 1, chapter 2, I believe, text 16, if we can show it on the screen. Shushrushuho Shraddadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the message of Vasudeva is made possible. Text number 17. Shrinvatam svakataha Krishnaha punya shravana kirtanaha hridyanta stohya bhadrani vidunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-18. Nashta prayeshu vabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktira bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text 19. Tadarajastamo bhava Kamalobhadayaschaye chitayete ranaviddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Again, thanks everyone for this participation in this very auspicious reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Believe today we'll be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 12. Neshkarmyam apyuchapat bhavavarjita nashobhati jnanamalam niranjanam kutah punaha sasvarabhadram ishvari nacharpitam karma yadi api akaranam. Neshkarmyam, self-realization, being freed from the reaction of fruitive work. Api, in spite of. Achyuta, the infallible Lord. Bhava, conception. Varjita, devoid of. Na, does not. Shobhati, look well. Jnanam, knowledge, transcendental. Alam, by the by. Niranjanam, free from designations. Kutaha, where is. Punaha, again. Shashvad, always. Abhadram, uncongenial. Ishwari, unto the Lord. Na, not. Cha, and. Arpitam, offered. Karma, fruitive work. Yadyapi, what is. Akaranam, non-fruitive. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Knowledge of self-realization, even though it is freed from all material affinity, does not look well on account of being devoid of the conception of the infallible God. Where is then any utility of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature, if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord? Purport by His Divine Grace. As referred to above, not only ordinary literatures devoid of the transcendental glorification of the Lord are condemned, but also Vedic literatures and speculation on the subject of impersonal Brahman, when they are devoid of devotional service, are also similarly condemned on account of such spiritual vacuum. When speculation on the impersonal Brahman is condemned on the above ground, then what to speak about ordinary fruitive work if it is not meant for fulfilling the aim of devotional service? Such speculative knowledge and fruitive work cannot lead one to the goal of perfection. Fruitive work, in which almost all people in general are engaged, is always painful, either in the beginning or at the end. They can only be fruitful when they are made subservient to the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also, this is confirmed that the result of such fruitive work may be offered for the service of the Lord. Otherwise, they're all meant for material bondage. The bona fide enjoyer of the fruitive work is the personality of Godhead, and as such, fruitive result, when it is engaged in the sense gratification of the living beings, all such results become acute sources of trouble for such false enjoyer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataha Adadanastrinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pekshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In 1976 at the Mayapur festival, one Vaishnava devotee named Anantarama Shastri came to join Śrīla Prabhupāda. This devotee was born in a Vaishnava family. He was a very proficient Sanskrit scholar. He knew a few Indian languages, and he was a very good devotee. And he came to the festival, and he was living very close to Śrīla Prabhupāda's room, and Prabhupada was engaging him in translating some of the commentaries of the great acharyas on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Again, this person was just not knowledgeable in the Sanskrit. He was a very, very expert and very proficient. That's what the Shastri title is. Incidentally, the convener of our program, Venkat Bhatta, comes from a family originally of Shastris, of great Sanskrit scholars, so we're very fortunate as well. Anyway, back to this devotee. This devotee composed a hymn called the Prabhupada Stotram. This originally was 23 Sanskrit players in glorification of Śrīla Prabhupada. So what he did in Mayapur that year, he was chanting before the beginning of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam classes. He was just besides the Vyāsasana of Śrīla Prabhupada at Mayapur, and he was chanting very melodiously the 5 of these prayers. So somewhere or other, I was able to acquire these prayers from this Pandit, along with some translations in English. And later on, in October of 1976, I was in Vrindavan, and when Prabhupada assigned me to stay in the Gurukul and teach the children some Sanskrit recitation, we were chanting these hymns in front of Śrīla Prabhupada in the morning, just before Guru Puja. And what happened in 1977, Prabhupada was very pleased with these recitations with all the Gurukul children there. In 1977, in May, when I had the opportunity to serve Śrīla Prabhupada and massage his feet at night and attend to him for a few hours, one night he asked me, it says, "Do you still have those prayers that Krishna Kacheta Madamoha Vinasha Karin?" I said, "Yes, Śrīla Prabhupada." And Prabhupada says you should continue to teach this to the Gurukul children and also to the other devotees. Because if the devotees recite these prayers, they will develop very good sneha. I said, well, what is that, Prabhupada? Oh, that it means respect and affection for the spiritual master. Says this is very valuable prayers that Vaishnava scholar. Then he asked me what happened to him. I said, well, my understanding is that he stayed for some time and then some devotees chased him away. Some dispute happened with some other Sanskrit scholar from ISKCON who was simply subsequently kicked out of ISKCON by Śrīla Prabhupāda. So that devotee somewhere or other left, but his prayers are still there. Those hymns, I believe, are there on the internet, on the Prabhupada, so-called PrabhupadaNuga.com. So at some point in this program, we will recite these prayers in the future, not this particular session. We'll recite these prayers, and I will read, because I was making notes of my conversation with Prabhupada. That conversation, unfortunately, was not recorded. I had no recording facilities when I was massaging Prabhupada's feet in those days, but I did make notes subsequent of the exact conversations I had with Śrīla Prabhupada. So this is just like the point. The reason I'm saying this is I just want to mention here, Vishwakarma Prabhu touched upon a very important, crucial point in his speech earlier, that it is very important for devotees to properly understand Guru Tattva, not some mythology, not some speculation, not some fabrication, not some hoax, not some sidewalk propaganda. No, but facts. Anybody can believe what they want. Anybody is entitled to their pious beliefs. That's fine. We don't decry anybody's beliefs. What we are interested in is facts and evidence. Now, somebody wants to say, oh, I was there and Prabhupada said this and this means that, and we really know what Prabhupada really meant and what Prabhupada really intended. And you see the massive chaos and massive nonsense that followed about these people that had some so-called personal living association with Prabhupada with their speculative interpretations. What we want is facts and open discussion. I've often said, if anybody wants to take us on, tread bare, no time limit, any topic, and we can discuss the entire history of all the individuals who have propagated this hoax, this monumental hoax upon the society of devotees, that Prabhupada allegedly appointed some successors in some mysterious, barely audible audio tape. Well, the reality is very different. Śrīla Prabhupada did not appoint any successors. He did not appoint or nominate any Diksha gurus. And if anybody believes or is of the opinion that he did, then try to prove it. Try to prove it. Explain to us when, where, how, and what happened when this so-called alleged appointment took place. I'm referring to the last few months of Śrīla Prabhupada's manifested presence in 1977. Anyway, coming back to this text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, it's very important when we analyze Śrīla Prabhupada's statements. In 1977, as part of these conversations I had with Śrīla Prabhupada in the month of May, one day Prabhupada says, so what do you do in the Gurukul there? How do you teach the children? And he says, in general, when you were in South India and you give classes to devotees or speeches, how do you prepare for this? Explain to me. And Prabhupada stared at me. Now, I don't know if any one of you have been very close to, I know Vishwakarma has, then when you're sitting across from Śrīla Prabhupada and he's staring at you and he's asking for an answer, you better be ready to give him the right answer. And I explained to Prabhupada, well, what we do is with the Gurukul children, we take your books and we read the Sanskrit or the Bengali. We read the word-for-word synonyms. We read your translation and your purport. And then we start a discussion by analyzing the various points, and we have some devotees take notes of the various Sanskrit and Bengali quotations that you give, the various analogies that you present, the various examples, and we make a list like bullet point of all the major points in your purport. And then we draw a list of questions on this purport. And we discuss that with the various, because these classes were being conducted with many of the children like Dwarkadish, Kendra, and other devotees. They were like 11, 12, 13 years old. And when Prabhupada heard that, he smiled and says, yes, that is a very good system. And give them time to express various questions and discussion. This is the proper way of studying the book, systematically. Now, my point is, why is this important? Not because I had that conversation with Prabhupada, is that Prabhupada confirming that there is a proper way, a bona fide way to study the books. We're not interested in political propaganda and big pronouncements that people say, oh, if you don't accept the such and such appointed person, you're going to hell, and all of this nonsense. This is not Vaishnavism. This is political maneuvering. We're not interested in political maneuvering or nonsensical sermons. What we're interested is carefully hearing, submissive hearing of the teachings, the bona fide original teachings of the Acharya. When Prabhupada says in the second canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that one should approach the current link. Now, we're all aware that some of our contemporaries and colleagues, or sometimes former colleagues, have interpreted that means living, some living person. Well, I've got some news for you. The Acharya is still living. Prabhupada is always living in sound. Just yesterday, I was looking at the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam again. I do read some every single day. And it's just so profound the way that Prabhupada structured that book. He dedicated the book to his Guru Maharaj. And then he says, he lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. Why did Prabhupada say that? Let's deal with this statement a little bit. Prabhupada could have chosen to say the initiated disciple, or disciple lives with him. What does he mean by he lives forever by his divine instruction? What is that? It's very simple. It's not complicated. Now, we don't have to be a PhD in grammar or English to comprehend what Prabhupada is trying to convey, what he is trying to articulate. It's a very simple point that he will live forever with his books, with his teachings, with his instructions. Just like he was living forever with his Guru Maharaj, his Divine Grace, Śrīla Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. In the same way, anybody who follows Prabhupada, who is a bona fide student of Prabhupada, thereby being a bona fide disciple, following the discipline of Śrīla Prabhupada, do you also live with Śrīla Prabhupada? And this brings me, because I know people will say, oh, we've already discussed that before. Well, it looks like some people, and I'm not going to identify any names on this program. It's not anybody here. Some people don't seem to get it. Although they claim they understand. Oh, they will claim so many things. But we see Prabhupada very early on in 1969 in Los Angeles, California, in a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class on January 13th, 1969, made another very profound statement. That what we have heard from the spiritual master, that is living. Let me just repeat that again. What we have heard from the spiritual master, like Śrīla Prabhupada, that is living. So when people try to say, oh, Prabhupada is not available, Prabhupada is not present, he is not physically here, you have not understood the teachings. You have not understood the fundamental point. And why is that so important? Because there's a big difference between material thinking and spiritual thinking, which leads us a little bit fast forward to 1975 in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, for the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada said, it is not that he's dead and gone. That is not spiritual understanding. So what we have in this movement is devotees posing and posturing as sadhus, gurus, and big spiritual authorities who have not understood the basis of Śrīla Prabhupada's teaching, the basis, the fundamental teaching of his eternal presence. They keep saying, oh, Prabhupada can't initiate because he's not physically present. Oh, yes, he can. What is the definition of initiation? Is it just throwing some bananas into the fire? Throwing some ghee into the fire? What is their idea? What is their understanding? Have they bothered to educate themselves? What did Prabhupada say in all of his teachings about the meaning of initiation? The process of transcendental knowledge? Divyam jnanam yato dadyat kuryat papasya sanshayam tasmad dikshiti saprokshes tegdeshitais tatakovidai. People will say, oh, we've heard all that before. Well, put it in your head again. Hear it again. The transmission of transcendental knowledge is the essence of initiation. Yesterday morning in the Bhagavad Gita class, we were reading from this very important statement in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which incidentally has been mutilated and botched by the editors, so-called editors of the BBT or so-called BBTI, where Prabhupada described the direct disciple of Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami was Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who accepted Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti as his servitor. In another lecture, Prabhupada said that Vishwanath Chakravarti accepted Narottam Das Thakur as his guru. How did he accept him as his guru since he never physically met him? How did that happen? In what sense is Śrīla Prabhupada saying that he was the servitor, the reception of transcendental knowledge? For those who are still under the illusion that initiation just means a celebration of throwing bananas into the fire, educate yourself. Look at Prabhupada, all of Prabhupada's statements about initiation, initiated, reception of transcendental knowledge, transmission of transcendental knowledge. How is it that these people will argue that what we're saying that Prabhupada is still initiating or giving transcendental knowledge is not possible because he's not physically here, but he is here. He's still here in his deity form, in his pictures, in his transcendental, unedited, non-adulterated, non-interpolated books. He's here. For those who understand the basic that Prabhupada has just been describing, they will understand that it makes perfect sense that Prabhupada is still initiating people all over the world. Simply, we have to become conduits. We have to become instruments, facilitators of that connection to Śrīla Prabhupada, not put a toll gate between Prabhupada and the new people. That is not allowed. In 1976, there was a very ominous lecture where Śrīla Prabhupada was speaking again to a Vaishnava who just departed, and another devotee named Achyutananda Swami, and Yeshomati Nandana from Ahmedabad, very important conversation with Prabhupada was talking, what happened to the Gaudiya Math? Why did it fail? Prabhupada, because they tried to become more than Guru. Prabhupada explained that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave so many instructions before he departed, and he did not appoint any Acharya. Now think about that for a moment. And as the conversation went on, Śrīla Prabhupada said, as soon as he learns that Guru Maharaj is dead, now I can kill Guru and become Guru. And then on the audio tape, you don't see this in the transcript. On the audio tape, there was this very eerie silence for 5 or 6 seconds. Then Prabhupada says, then he's finished. Now, why would Prabhupada be referring that somebody is killing Guru when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur departed on the 31st of December, 1936? Because he's referring to people trying to kill or minimize the eternal presence of the Guru. That is the point. Devotees should meditate upon these things and carefully understand why Prabhupada was trying to tell people, just act as my representative on my behalf. Now we see so many people are rejecting various authorities because they see the same nonsensical disease of pratishta, of name, fame, power, position, adoration, as infiltrated the original society that Prabhupada founded and so many other reform groups. Devotees should be very careful about this. Do not engage in this posing, posturing, pretending, prophet adoration distinction. This will spoil everything. This will spoil everything. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, very much for that wonderful explanation of these verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And you had asked me to read a section from Prabhupada's morning walk on December 12th, 1973 in Los Angeles. December 12th, 1973 in Los Angeles, on a morning walk, Prabhupada spoke as such. Unless we take care of the books and preach, unless we take care of the books and preach and read ourselves, understand the philosophy, this Hare Krishna will be finished within a few years. Thank you, by the way. Because there will be no life. That's right, Prabhupada. We are so foolish, we never realize anything unless you tell us like that without preaching. Prabhupada, without preaching, without understanding the philosophy, you cannot keep your strength. Everyone should be thoroughly well conversed with the philosophy which we are putting. That means you must read thoroughly every day. So many books we have got. And Bhagavad is so perfect that any verse you read, you get a new enlightenment. It is so nice, either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad, but it is not an ordinary thing. Umapati, I've tried to put your Bhagavad Gita in some schools, and they say, well, some of them, they do have Bhagavad Gita. They say, well, I have a Bhagavad Gita. I say, this is an entirely different understanding of Bhagavad Gita. It's just somebody else's opinion, and we don't have so much interest in a variety of opinions on the same book. It is not opinion. We are placing the as it is without opinion. Well, those are the terms. It is very difficult to overcome. So preaching is very difficult. That I have repeatedly saying. You cannot take preaching very easygoing. Preaching must be fight. Do you mean say fighting is easy thing? Fighting is not easy thing. Whenever there is fight, there is danger, there is responsibility. So preaching means, what is this preaching? Because people are ignorant. We have to enlighten them. That is preaching. And I think that that was the essence of the discussion today, or part of it, was to carefully study the books, like Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu was directing the students at the Gurukula school back in 75, Prabhu?
76.
76. I remember being there, walking in those corridors. Very interesting. And all the lines up around the balconies with the hanging of clothes for drying. Still remember that vividly. So the point here is that those people who read the books will understand the benefit of these books. There is a huge library of information available for all of us. And time management is the secret of success. So Chanakya Pandit, there's a famous quote, lost time cannot be bought back for millions of gold coins. So what is our most valuable asset in the human form of life? Our time. And we have an opportunity, everyone, irrespective of what your position in life is, whatever work you've got to do, whatever business you're running, whatever responsibility you have, we still have to manage our time carefully so that we can constantly use it in association with the pure devotee. And we do have time. It's a matter of management. We have to chant our rounds. We have to cook our prasadam, offer it up, our bhoga, and offer it up. We have to study the literature. Some time has to be set aside. And this is the way that you will become inspired. We will become inspired to become Krishna conscious. Sure, we're mentioning, oh, you must read, but that's not the point. The point is time management. To manage your time in such a way that you do read these books and understand the transcendental value of them in your life, because the sound has form. Sound in spiritual life has form. This is a yoga process, not breathing exercises, not sitting exercises, but the training of the mind through the process of hearing, through the ear, and through speech. Then you can capture the mind, Prabhupada explained to us. And you can fix it in samadhi on the lotus feet of Krishna, which is present. Krishna is present in the transcendental sounds being emanated from a pure devotee, as we're seeing in these purports today in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Why do we celebrate these purports? Think about it, Prabhus. This was written pre-ISKCON days. This was written while Prabhupada was in samadhi, focused on the mission of Śrīla Prabhupada's guru, Bhaktisiddhanta, to spread Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking countries of the world according to his order. And he created these literatures for us and these amazing purports to give us insight which is beyond time and space. Beyond time and space. It's not a static a document like a newspaper. What is the good of a newspaper? Every day you hear this in the West here. Every day we hear about how useless the political leaders are. We hear about all kinds of sporting events. We all listen to this gibberish that goes on every day. You can't avoid it. It's all over the media. And what does it value? Garbage. What do you do with the newspaper? You finish looking at the newspaper, you may want to get some update on current affairs. And what's the first thing you do, Krishna Kata, with the newspaper? Garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage for the mind. And if you want to get relief, you turn on a Prabhupada lecture. Oh, yes. There's a chance for all of us to turn on a Prabhupada lecture and absorb ourselves in real insights into who you are. We have trouble mentally, all of us. The mind is disturbed. This is the nature of material life. But as soon as we get connected with Śrīla Prabhupada and his transcendental sound vibration, which is beyond time and space, then we become peaceful. One who is in transcendental consciousness is capable of finding peace in this life because of their connection with the pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is following strictly the orders of his spiritual master. This is a science of self-realization. If we want to be successful in anything, we have to be very detailed in our approach to learning that science. It doesn't matter. For example, even in music, sometimes with my limited ability of playing the bass, I help other people that are new students of the bass. And the first thing that I do when they pick up the bass is I look at their hands. They look at me, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking to see how you hold the bass. Some people, they try to learn to play the bass, but they don't know how to hold the bass, how to structure the fingers in such a way that you can pluck the strings and make the correct movements on the bass to learn how to play it. Just that one thing. You start with the wrong way to hold the bass, you can't play the bass very well because you're hampered by that ability. So in the same way, you try to learn Krishna consciousness from an unqualified person and you will not get anywhere because you started at the wrong point of beginning. First of all, the person's not bona fide because they have subjective approach to this process. There's an objective approach to this process, and there's the subjective approach. What is subjective? That I'm going to teach you this process so you'll become my disciple. Oh. I'm going to teach you this process so you'll donate money to me so I don't have to go to work. All I have to do is cash the money in the bank and spend it at my whim with plane tickets and vacations and world travel like a transcendental rock star. What kind of nonsense is that? And this has been going on in the name of millions and millions of dollars being wasted by the whims of a few people. This has gone on. This is not a joke. How many people here in this group can get on a plane and go wherever they want, whenever they want, and not worry about the cost of accommodation and the plane ticket and expenses? None of us. Because we all work for our money. We all work for our opportunity to be able to serve Krishna and take care of our responsibilities. But some people take advantage of this. This is a science. This is a science of hearing and chanting and serving the mission of Śrīla Prabhupāda. And we're very fortunate these days that we've come up with this opportunity to serve this mission by the reproduction of the original Bhagavatams so that other people can read them and get inspired. I can still remember Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu back in Hamilton in 1971 on Charlton Street, where we had our rented house. We were living there. It was a 3-story house. I still remember reading the Bhagavatams from Prabhupada's original collection, because everyone, all these small preaching centers had these books as the vehicle for understanding. And it was such a great realization that was manifesting for myself and the other God brothers and God sisters that were living together in this ashram preaching center. A great insight into the dynamic nature of transcendental sound. How do you get it? You have to apply yourself. It's not by chance or by accident that someone can achieve anything by whimsical behavior. It takes discipline, and disciple means discipline. If you're not interested and you're not serious about this process, then it's not necessary to take it up because it's not a fad. This requires surrender, real surrender, and being submissive and cooperative and humble before the assembled Vaishnavas. We can't prove anything to anyone because a lot of people, they don't want to see it. They only want to think from their own state of subjective understanding what is what. Like, for example, when we enter into a dialogue, a discussion with some of our God brothers, I've had so many of them with the Bhagavats and the Adi Jagas and the other people, the Krishna Dasas, etc. I can't even mention the numbers. They don't want to hear what we say, and you know what happens? They hang up, they block, they reject. I ask for proof, they can't give it. I don't want to talk to you anymore, goodbye. Okay. It's a big world out there. There are billions of people, so carry on, and we'll carry on. Many are called, few are chosen. That's what Jesus said. And in the same way, many people are come to Krishna consciousness, like the variety of people that associated with Prabhupada in his early days, and they were mentioned today in the diary. Where are they now? So this is a great opportunity for us, and I want to thank Yaśodā-nandana for such a wonderful effort that he's making to give us insights and give us a taste of the dynamic nature of Krishna consciousness that is present in Prabhupada's books. Yaśodā-nandana, please.
Yes, very important point you're raising here. I wanted to read just a few statements from Śrīla Prabhupāda from a book called Dialectical Spiritualism that was a conversation between Das and Śrīla Prabhupāda. Many of these conversations were recorded in Calcutta in 1970-71.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a discussion about the spread of communism and the difference between Chinese communism and Russian communism. And Prabhupada said, anyway, the Russia is supposed to be the leader of the communistic idea, accepted. Opposition. Now, some days after, we will not be accepted. Similarly, your also theory will fail. That is my proposition. Because I challenge that your theory is not perfect. Because Russia's theory was not perfect, it has failed. Similarly, I said that your theory is also imperfect. Therefore, it will fail. Anything imperfect will fail. That is my proposition, Bhaktivedanta. His propaganda is that it is perfect because it has made the Chinese people, Prabhupada. Propaganda. By propaganda, you can do anything. That is a different thing, but fact is fact. If your theory is not perfect, you make however propaganda, it will fail. And then Prabhupada goes on a little further, he says, by philosophy, you give something which will not create any conflict. but by conflict, by crushing, by subduing. If you want to establish your peace, then what is the value of this peace? Shyamasundar, he says we also have to prevent foreign intervention. Prabhupada, if your theory is perfect, why there should be foreign intervention? Ribatinandana, how foreign intervention will be dangerous to you if you are perfect? Well, because Shyamasundar, because the capitalists are Prabhupada, that is bias. Your people also become capitalists. Why Khrushchev was driven away? Because he was becoming. So because you are all imperfect, you think in a different way. But ultimately, you will find that it is useless, childish, that's all. So the point is that we are seeing many devotees all around the world questioning, challenging the status quo or the authoritative position or so-called authoritative position of various members of Prabhupada's original society, because they've seen and have experienced so many falsehoods, fabrications, lies, distortions, and nonsense. Blatant nonsense. We're not going to go in the whole laundry list, but what we see always coming back, oh, we're the authorities, therefore we're always right. We can do whatever we want. Well, in the real world, it doesn't work that way, even in the spiritual sphere. And this is what Prabhupada is trying to say here. What is the value of your peace if you have to crush and subdue and dominate everybody? Prabhupada spread his movement on the basis of love. He attracted people on the basis of his great purity, his humility, his powerful transcendental delivery. Nobody can imitate that. So when Prabhupada says, just be my representative, do it on my behalf, just do that. And then it will fit. But by trying to crush people, dominate people, subdue people, that will not work, regardless of your so-called propaganda and pious beliefs. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhupada, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, as we all, as a group, understand it, is the transparent via media for Krishna. This is a very interesting understanding of our philosophy, that he is not actually speaking, but Krishna is speaking through him. And in this way, Prabhupada is perfectly surrendered to Krishna as his servant. You become the agent of the Supreme Lord, the representative. So in the same way, now some people have the capacity to understand this philosophy. Some people don't. It's not in them. For whatever reason, they take action from a subjective point of view. I'm going to do this so that in my career, I will get the result. And I'll use Prabhupada's teachings, I'll use Prabhupada's success to promote my success. Very insidious, actually. Why do people do this? False ego. The false ego is not something you can easily overcome. It's very difficult. We all suffer from that. But when you step into the process of bhakti yoga and try to promote yourself as God's representative, when you have personal motive for your own self-aggrandizement, this becomes hatimata, the mad elephant offense. And this little insignificant, teeny-weeny nobody will be stamped out at the time of death because of their offenses. We are insignificant. We have no position except the position of servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And the more you become a servant of the mission of Śrīla Prabhupāda, And the mission of Lord Chaitanya, the greater we will become as devotees, like Jayananda did and demonstrated to the world his service attitude, which was exemplary. And Yaśodā and I were discussing it yesterday, how Prabhupada was so affected when he got the news, and Yaśodā was in the room when he got the news, and that Prabhupada was very sad to hear of the disappearance of Jayananda. And then he told Yaśodā in his presence, he has gone back to Godhead. So very, very important lessons today for all of us. So many points. And Krishna Katha, who is my friend and godbrother, has a very interesting story about his spiritual journey and the hardships he's gone through to get to this point. We'd like to call upon him to share some of his realizations on today's discussions about the Krishna conscious sampradaya of the pure devotee.
Yes, well, this again is without any doubt for all that will watch this video and all the subsequent videos for the last 2 years, will come to the conclusion that they're either serious or they're not. This is really the point, is you have this easy street where you see the opportunity to become a voted in faker, cheater, pretender, poser, so many words. And so they take it. Why should I be disciplined? Why should I be austere? Why should I take up this difficult side of actual spiritual practice when I can go on easy street? So this is the attraction. This is why we see so many of this unauthorized, concocted, voted in, offensive, I can sit where Prabhupada sits and be him, be better than him. So I extrapolated, just like it's very easy to do. In this current system, we have these persons that are eventually going to leave their body, and they're already asking for where they're going to want their samadhi and how it's to be built and placed in this location in the Holy Dome. So can you see hundreds of these samadhis being erected all over at some point? There's not enough space in India for all these samadhis. They're all bogus. Right now, obviously, our disciplic line, right, that they rightfully are to be worshipped for all time, right? The Goswamis, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Rupa Goswami, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhaktivedanta, and we have Jayananda, pure devotee, Pushpa Samadhi. These are the real devotees that are deserving of this honor, not all these posers. So when you extrapolate that out, it's out of control, completely out of control. So just like Lord Indra was chastised by Krishna in the great pastime of the lifting of Govardhan Hill, because he wanted to know, why am I not getting my worship that I always get from these inhabitants of Braja? What's going on here? So just as Lord Indra, very exalted personality in our universe, king of the demigods, was chastised by this young boy, Krishna, in the same way, these, how do I say it? It's just been said so nicely by Yaśodā and Vishwakarma for so long, but these deviants that are chasing the subtle gratifications of mental speculation and sometimes gross sense gratification, depending, and they're after fame and adoration and distinction, right? Fad, and they're after profit and adoration and distinction, pad. All of these are diseases that Maya affects and blinds us from our ability to see exactly what Prabhupada wants us to see. And that is the transcendental message that is delivered through transcendental sound all the way to the very jiva who we are. The soul wakes up, hears the absolute truth, and now is on the path, has taken this first step, this initiating step. Just like we have on this class, Chaitanya Ramdas. He now knows the truth because the soul has wakened to the truth. He was attracted, he went through the process and has become aware that the process was a fake, was bogus, but he was sincere. And that's the difference. You're either serious and sincere, or you just want easy street. Easy street. I don't have to go to work. I can wear these robes. Someone can even clean them for me. They can deliver my food on a nice stainless steel tray to my room, and I just got to pretend my way through it. That's what's happening. Just like Prabhupada said, the actual Shakti has been lost in his temples, but his books will endure. They will endure, and that is why Vishwakarma has brought up very nicely our GoFundMe program. Here again is a pristine version of the 3-volume first canto set, printed in 1962, 64, and 65. And anything you can give to make this happen, we are doing exactly what Prabhupada did when he came to the United States. And we all know the suffering and the obstacles that he endured to make this happen. This is an opportunity that only comes once in a lifetime, to receive one of these sets into your home and read every day. Just like Yaśodā said in this class, he reads a little bit of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam every day. This is what keeps him firmly fixed and rightly situated, because this is where the nectar is. This is where the actual connection to Krishna is in these books through our divine spiritual master. So please give what you can. $20, $5, $108 will get you the books and the 2 smaller books, Ishopanishad and Easy Journey, and I believe that wonderful t-shirt that Vishwakarma has shown on the last few classes where it says Krishna right across the chest. So please give what you can. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. I really appreciate everything you are all doing. Thank you so much. Jai.
Well, we're close to the end of the program. I see Nilesh has his hand up. Just 1 second, Prabhu. But we're also very close to getting to our goal of $24,000 in the GoFundMe program. So we've had about 59 donors. I think we might have got 1 today. Out of 8 billion people, we've had 59 people give for this program. So we still, like I said, we still have over $3,000 that we need to finish the GoFundMe program. And so we're hoping that everyone can give what they can. And in this way, we'll move forward with this wonderful program of not only printing the books, but after we get the books, we're going to call on all of us to distribute the books to the people in their networks. This is not a narcissistic type of mission that we're on, where you're just on your own schedule of whatever you do with your life. We're expecting people to be able to sacrifice their time, their energy in practicing this process, practically demonstrating their enthusiasm to Krishna and to Lord Chaitanya and to Śrīla Prabhupāda to spread the Krishna consciousness movement to other people, and we get some genuine devotees that will take it up with us and advance this process worldwide. This is the real welfare work, not opening hospitals and running so-called food programs. Nilesh Shama. There he
Hare
is in his-
Krishna.
He's in his car, I see. Are you driving
Yes,
somewhere?
yes. No, I'm not driving. I'm just charging my car. Hare
You're
Krishna, Prabhuji.
charging your car. Interesting. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Jai Śrīla Prabhupāda. I was listening both to yesterday's program and today's program. And I wanted to share some. I was in Vancouver, ISKCON, just recently because I was traveling there. In fact, I was, as you said, vacationing. And one of the experiences which I got, that it is right next to an Hindu temple, which is a much more modern looking temple. And I'm sure more recent than the Vancouver temple. And we were attending the Arati, the evening Arati over there. Shri Radha Madan Mohan, I believe, right, in Vancouver. So,
which temple?
While we were,
which temple were you at?
ISKCON temple.
Oh,
ISKCON Vancouver.
At the ISKCON
ISKCON
temple.
Vancouver.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. ISKCON Vancouver. Radha Madan Mohan temple.
Yes.
So the deity's names are Radha Madan Mohan. And while we were doing the Arati, there was this very young Prabhuji over there. He's busy trying to sweep the floor. And while the Arati is going on, he is disturbing the congregational members as he's sweeping the floor. And I'm wondering is who must have given him that instruction to do this particular seva at that particular time, you see? It is very interesting. So I just wanted to bring that to your and Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu's attention. And as you say, it is a known fact amongst all financial analysts. There is no business like religion business in the world. If you want to make the topmost money, the easiest money, nothing works like organized religion. You know that, I know that, we know how Vatican works, we know how everything works. And in fact, even Vatican recruits a lot of consultants, you know. In fact, one of the persons I know used to work for McKinsey and Associates. He said that, yeah, they get hired by Vatican also to have marketing and all other things going on. So nothing works like organized religion. Nothing makes money like that. And of course, a conditioned soul like me needs a vacation because we're involved in mundane work. We are involved in mundane materialistic work. But I'm curious, how does these Mahabhagavats, the so-called realized souls of ISKCON, why do they need a vacation? And how come Prabhupada never took a vacation? You see? How come Prabhupada never took a vacation? You see? We have to understand that as ordinary jivas, we should know that, yes, we have been burned by a lot of these so-called business-minded religionists. And so that we don't get burned by the fake gurus, we got to understand that there is still what you call real gurus in the world, the real guru in the world, and there are still true transcendentalists in the world. People who take vacations are those who are still on the mundane level of life. And if you look at it from one perspective, and this was one of my realizations with this vacation which I took from Vancouver to Alaska, is that whenever we take a vacation, we learn something about some culture or some kind of a what you call civilization. But ultimately, what is it that we are learning? We are learning nothing but eating, sleeping, mating, and defending of different people or different animals. That's all we are doing. Prabhupada knew it. Prabhupada was on the pure platform where he was getting happiness, such tremendous happiness from serving Krishna that he did not need a vacation. But our so-called modern gurus, self-appointed gurus, they need vacations. Why? Because they are doing mundane work. Now, whom do you want to follow? You make your own decisions. Hare Krishna.
Yes, okay. So thank you very much. Yeah, these things are going on, as Prabhupada used to say, especially in these different organizations and groups, because everyone has independent free will, and we're hoping that all of us take up this mission to revive the Krishna Consciousness movement through the Hare Krishna Society Prabhupada Disciples Association. And if you have, any of you have any questions regarding anything that we're discussing or doing, please, by all means, get in touch with us personally. We're always available, myself and Yaśodā and Krishna Katha and a large group of us, Janis Priya, Dharma Bhavana, Prakrita in Montreal, Vijaya Pandit in Italy, so many God brothers working together here in this association for propagating the truth of the matter in regards to Prabhupada's position in his Vani incarnation. This is a philosophical debate that's going on amongst many people. And like I said earlier, Prabhus, this type of conflict is common in every environment. Keep an objective point of view in this regards. See this as a transcendental pastime. You know, there is a lot of issues, but Krishna ultimately, he's in charge of everything. And we are all his servants and the servants of Śrīla Prabhupada. And if we keep the proper perspective, we'll remain peaceful, we'll remain happy on our journey back home, back to Godhead. So please donate to this GoFundMe project. I think the link is up on the chat, or if you're looking for it. And take advantage of this opportunity to participate in this effort to protect Prabhupada's legacy in his original Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams that he published before he opened ISKCON in 1966 in July. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement. Let's move forward with the chanting chant along with the chanting, and then we'll do the Vanchakalpa prayers led by Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, our good friend and guide. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thanks everybody for participating. Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Hare Krishna. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thanks Venkat Prabhu for managing the program, and thank all the participants and everybody who's made comments on the chat. Very much appreciated. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam